Hello and welcome back to another video. In today's video, I am going to be talking about my Fall Hopefuls TBR. These are books that, one, I have already bought a copy of, except for one, which I have on my Kindle. And two, these are books that I feel like scream fall. They scream Halloween, spooky, fall vibes in general, monsters, that sort of thing. So let's get into it. I've broken these into categories, and my first category are anthologies. I have a couple of anthologies that I've bought that are horror anthologies. So the first on my list is called Our Shadows Have Claws. This is a Hispanic horror anthology. It's 15 Latin American monster stories. And this has been on my shelf for a while. I've been really excited to read it, but anthologies like this take me forever to read. I don't know why, they just do. I tend to enjoy them because I like the short story aspect of it, but they take me forever to read. So this has a 4.2 rating on Goodreads out of 614 ratings. From zombies to cannibals to death incarnate, this cross-genre anthology offers something for every monster lover. In Our Shadows Have Claws, bloodthirsty vampires are hunted by a quick-witted slayer, children are stolen from their beds by El Viejo de la Bolsa, while military dictatorship steals their parents, and anyone you love, absolutely anyone, might be a shapeshifter waiting to hunt. So I'm very excited to read this. I feel like fall is the perfect time for monster stories because of Halloween, but it's just, this is the time of year when I want to read stuff like this. So I'm hoping that I will be able to get to this. The next on my anthology list is a book called Your Body Is Not Your Body. This is the trans horror anthology. First of all, I bought it because of the cover. It's beautiful. I'll show you a close-up in just a minute. This has a 4.22 rating out of only 178 ratings on Goodreads. I found this at Bookmarks. I saw the cover and I saw that it was a trans horror anthology and I immediately bought it. And so I'm really excited to read this. Extreme conditions demand extreme responses. Over 30 creators from the transgender nonconforming communities come together to voice their rage, defiance, and fearlessness in the new weird horror tradition that Tenebris Press exemplifies. So I'm really excited to get to this. It's pretty short. It's one of my hopefuls. It has some artwork in here. Some of it kind of looks like, when you flip through it, some of it just looks like it's poetry. So yeah, I'm excited to get to this one. This is probably the one that I think I'm most excited about. It's called It Came from the Closet. This is nonfiction. And first of all, the cover of this and the title of this is so good. It's such a good play on words. Like, this is like the best cover I think I've ever seen. It has a 4.24 rating on Goodreads out of 4,000 reviews. Horror movies hold a complicated space in the hearts of the queer community. Historically misogynist and often homo and transphobic, the genre has also been inadvertently feminist and open to subversive readings. Common tropes such as the circumspect and resilient quote-unquote final girl, body possession, costumed villains, secret identities, and things that lurk in the closet spark moments of eerie familiarity and affective connection. Still, viewers often remain tasked with reading themselves into beloved films, seeking out characters and set pieces that speak to, mirror, and parallel the unique ways queerness encounters the world. This is different horror authors talking about the movies that drew them into the horror genre. So my last anthology is one that I don't have a physical copy of yet because it has not come out. And that is a book called Never Whistle at Night. I've got an arc of it and I read the beginning and I knew I was going to love it. As a foreword from Stephen Graham Jones, and it was edited by Shane Hawk. Anoka is Shane Hawk's short story book. This was really short, this was really weird and creepy, and I really enjoyed it. So I'm excited to read Never Whistle at Night. Never Whistle at Night is a collection of indigenous dark fiction. So it's a little different than the other anthologies that I have. These wholly original and shiver-inducing tales introduce readers to ghosts, curses, hauntings, monstrous creatures, complex family legacies, desperate deeds, and chilling acts of revenge. Introduced and contextualized by best-selling author Stephen Graham Jones, these stories are a celebration of Indigenous peoples' survival and imagination, and a glorious revealing in all the things that an ill-advised whistle might summon. And this has a 4.4 on Goodreads out of only 48 ratings, which it hasn't come out yet. It's going to come out on September 19th, and it has the coolest cover I think I've ever seen. One of the coolest covers I think I've ever seen, and I'm very excited to finish that. The next group of books are sci-fi fantasy books that I've had on my shelf for a while that just feel like they scream fall to me. And the first, which is maybe a little iffy to me on whether or not I think this is going to be fall, but the description that I read on the back is what sold me, is Nona the Ninth. I just recently read Harrow the Ninth. Alecto the Ninth, the fourth book in this series, is going to be coming out hopefully next year. And so I would like to get to Nona before the end of this year. The Ninth has a 4.36 on Goodreads out of almost 30,000 reviews. And the synopsis, or the blurb about this book, is her city is under siege, the zombies are coming back, and all Nona wants is a birthday party. So when it said zombies, I was like, okay, for sure, this is fall. So I am hopeful that I'll be able to get to Nona the Ninth this fall. Another book that I think just absolutely exudes fall fantasy vibes is The Hunger of the Gods. I read Shadow of the Gods last year, and then I forced my husband to read it, and so now I would like to get to The Hunger of the Gods. I think that the third book in this trilogy is going to come out soon. I was hoping that it was going to come out by the end of this year, but it looks more like 2024 when it will come out. And the Shadow of the Gods, the first in this series, was so spectacular, and I cannot wait to read The Hunger of the Gods. So, spoilers. I'm going to read the synopsis, and if you haven't read Shadow of the Gods, skip. Liegrifa the dragon, god of legend, has been freed from her eternal prison. Now she plots a new age of blood and conquest. As Orca, Varg, and Elvar embark on dangerous roads, the might of the Bloodsworn and the battle grim will not be enough to stand against Liegrifa. Their only hope lies within a book of forbidden magic with the power to raise the wolf god Ulfrir from the dead and bring about a battle that will shake the foundations of the earth. I just think this is fall vibes. Like, this is fall winter in a book. Gods battling dragons. Yeah, I'm really excited to read this. I have two more books in this category. This is another John Gwynne. I have not started this series. This is Malice. I'm not 100% sure what this series is called, but I really like John Gwynne. I really like his writing. This has been pitched as Game of Thrones-esque, which I'm not really sure how I feel about books being pitched as Game of Thrones-like, or, you know, how people will say, oh, this is perfect for fans of Sarah J. Maas. This is ACOTAR meets Game of Thrones, or this is The Wheel of Time meets XYZ. You know, like the Starbringer book was The Breakfast Club meets Firefly, and those things never hold up. They never stand up. But I really like John Gwynne, and I liked the TV show Game of Thrones. I have not read the books, but I think I'm gonna enjoy Malice by John Gwynne. So Malice has a 4.17 out of almost 32,000 reviews, almost 33,000 reviews. And this follows young Corbin as he watches enviously as boys become warriors under King Brennan's rule, learning the art of war. He yearns to wield his sword and spear to protect his king's realm, but that day will come all too soon. When he loses those he loves, he will learn the true price of courage. For John Gwynne, I have a lot of reading to get through if I want to get through 2 John Gwynne books in the last little bit of this year. And the final book on this list, I haven't heard much about this one. I saw the cover and I thought, that looks like something I would like to read. This is The Merciful Crow by Margaret Owen. I think I have read some other Margaret Owen, but I'm not 100% sure. This only has a 3.88 out of 16,000 reviews on Goodreads, and this follows Fee. Not sure if that's how you say this character's name. Fee abides by one rule: look after your own. As the future chieftain of a shunned castle of mercy killers, she relies on her wits and bone magic drawn from the teeth of dead witches to protect her band. The crows take more abuse than coin, so when they're called to collect the royal dead, Fee hopes they'll find the payout of a lifetime. So I just feel like from the cover, bone magic, I feel like this gives off fall vibes, and I am excited to finally get to this, hopefully. I'm a mood reader, so setting TBRs is risky for me. The next category only has one book in it because I only have one book on my physical TBR that I could pull from, which is what I really wanted to do for this because I'd like to get through some of these books. And that is one that I recently purchased, Modern Divination. Modern Divination has a 3.83 out of 911 reviews on Goodreads. I bought it simply because I like the cover and I like the vibes and I like the dark academia vibes that it gives off. This book follows Aurelia Schwartz as she attends a university, but she has a secret to keep. Her gift of green magic has begun to fade, and if it wasn't enough to upset the balance of her life, a fateful run-in with another power-hungry witch with a penchant for stolen magic has threatened to bring it all to ruin. Cast into an unexpected alliance with her dreadfully arrogant classmate, Aurelia goes into hiding among a peculiar family of witches, where she discovers that the secret to their safety requires breaking rules that she has followed all her life. Make no promises, tell no one what you are, and never stay the night. So this seems like it would be right up my alley. Dark academia is something that I am slowly coming to really enjoy, and I love a thrust together in an unlikely allyship, unlikely friends, unlikely romance. I think I'm really gonna like this. The last category on this fall TBR are books that I'm hoping will actually be a little scary. They're thrillers. There's maybe some monsters, but I'm hoping for a little scariness. The first on this list is Certain Dark Things by Sylvia Moreno-Garcia. This is a vampire book that I am very excited to get to. I've had this on my list for quite a while, mostly because I saw the cover and I really liked it. This has a 3.75 rating on Goodreads out of about 13,000 reviews. And we follow Domingo, a lonely garbage collecting street kid is just trying to survive its heavily policed streets when a jaded vampire on the run swoops into his life. So I am very excited to read about vampires and about a Domingo, a lonely garbage collecting street kid. I am hoping that I'm really gonna like this. I haven't read any other Sylvia Moreno-Garcia books, and I have 2 for this list. So I'm really hoping that this is good. And I hope that it scratches this itch for a monster, slightly spooky story. I want some spooky vibes. More spooky vibes and more Sylvia Moreno-Garcia. I am hoping to read Silver Nitrate. I just got this copy and it's signed. Silver Nitrate is Sylvia Moreno-Garcia's newest release, and this has a 3.8 out of 3,000 reviews on Goodreads. It just came out a couple weeks ago, so the reviews are still coming in, I'm sure. This follows Montserrat and her friend Tristan, who she hopes is more than a friend, but I'm not sure that that's gonna happen. They are helping their neighbor put together film that was filmed originally by occultists, and things start happening, spooky things happen. I really hope that this will scratch this spooky vibe itch that I've got going on. And finally, the last book on my Fall Hopefuls TBR is The Only One Left by Riley Sager. This is Riley Sager's newest release. I read Home Before Dark, or whatever that one was called, 2 years ago now. And I really enjoyed Home Before Dark. I think that Riley Sager is kind of a polarizing author, and so I liked that one. It was spooky, and I'm hoping this one has pretty good reviews. I'm hoping that it will be better. This one has a 4.22 star out of almost 48,000 reviews. So I have high hopes that this will be good. Now reduced to a schoolyard chant, the Hope family murders shocked the Maine coast one bloody night in 1929. While most people assume 17-year-old Leonora was responsible, the police were never able to prove it. Other than her denial after the killings, she has never spoken publicly about that night, nor has she set foot outside Hope's End, the cliffside mansion where the massacre occurred. It's now 1983, and home health aide Kit McDurry arrives at a decaying Hope's End to care for Leonora after her previous nurse fled in the middle of the night. In her 70s and confined to a wheelchair, Leonora was rendered mute by a series of strokes and can only communicate with Kit by tapping out sentences on an old typewriter. One night, Leonora uses it to make a tantalizing offer. I want to tell you everything. So this seems right up my alley as far as spooky books go. I love a creepy kid. I also love a creepy old lady. I think I'm gonna really enjoy the 1980s setting of this. So I'm hopeful. I hope that Riley Sager doesn't let me down. So that's it. Those are all of the books on my fall TBR for like fall theme, spooky vibes, that kind of thing. Of course, these are not the only books that I'm gonna read in the fall, and I am very much a mood reader, so we'll see how this goes. I've never made a TBR before, but I'm hopeful that I will be able to get through all of these this season. If I left anything out, or if there's any book recommendations that you would like to give to me as far as books that you think fit the fall vibe or have fall feeling, please be sure to let me know in the comments. And if you want to see more from me, be sure to subscribe, like, comment, all that jazz, and I will see you in the next one.